My name is Anne Loi, and I'm a Senior Vice President of DHX Media, as well as a unit that we're talking about today, DHX Interactive. DHX Interactive has been around since 2000, and for most part of our being in existence, we've been doing mostly interactive content for our TV side of the business, supporting them and supporting the broadcasters. In the last 4 or 5 years or so, we started branching out, developing original IP that starts from the interactive side, and in some cases move to the TV side, but some cases it makes more sense to stay on the interactive side as a pure online property. So we've done both. And recently we started getting into mobile content as well as casual game content aimed at family demographics, so older moms, 35 plus, that kind of demographics. We find that's a great transition for a family content development standpoint. And also from the TV side, we understand character development, storytelling, that translate very well into the interactive side of content being made for both of those demographics. I guess twofold. The reason why we're doing it is really to respond to the need of and the changing demographic, the changing needs of our own audience. People are multi-screen now, and as much as we are very good at producing television show, we need to produce it for where audience want to spend time on the screen. So it's very paramount that we reach them whichever screens they happen to be engaging with. So that's very important to us. So over the last 4 or 5 years, we see that trend happening. We know that is a fact. What's happening with our key core audience. So it wouldn't make sense for us to not embrace those other areas. And it's sometimes hard to imagine that different screens require different experience and slightly different content development. The easiest thing to do, the temptation, is just like take one, let's port it over to multiple platforms. And certainly we have thought about all of that, but what we believe in right now is that every screen, every devices have its own unique offerings to the people who are using it. So a straight porting is not going to be engaging and interesting to people. So we really needed to think about all the devices that make sense for the particular property. And as DHX, as a development group, we look at all of those areas, anywhere from merchandising to licensing to TV content to short form, long form, different genre. We look at all of those things now when we go into development, so that the first dollar we spend, we have all those things in mind when we do development. And we think that's very important, and people who come to DHX to work with us understand that we are a one-stop shop. We don't just produce television show, we look at them in a more 360 way. It is twofold, and also the funding environment in Canada, which we're very lucky to be part of, is switching that way as well. And for the longest time, it was TV and TV only, and that's shifting ever so slightly every year. But the reality now is that even the funding system is embracing the change. So I think between those two reasons, we feel that we're sort of the leader in being able to look at everything in a more holistic sort of way than just looking at one medium. Well, online, and you've probably heard other people say games, and more games. And certainly our broadcasters initially wanted full-fledged websites, and we've done many of those for them and for ourselves. And what we're realizing is that where kids spend most of their time, and the great thing about the internet is that you can track all of that, and most of the time they spend in doing is playing games. That's their expectations when they go online, is to play games. Now that's even shifting a little bit now, is that what we're finding is that the time split online is about 50-50 of watching video and playing games. They demand both, and they expect both, and they expect both to be just as engaging. It's a different way of consuming the content, games versus video, but they certainly expect both to be there when they go online. Yeah, absolutely. I would say that up to 5 years ago, our biggest struggle is that when we're building these massive big websites with so many components, our pipeline tends to be, we're focused on production a lot more than we focus on development, because these projects are so big. And what we're realizing over time is that we can create engaging content that are suitable for the online platform without it being so big. So what we're really conscious of is really dedicating some resources on the R&D side, and it's really tough because what I like, the people who are making them, who have the experience, I want the same people who are out there looking for the newest way of doing things, the more efficient way of building a pipeline. But when you're in production, it's very hard to lift your head and see what's going on in the world. So, it's a big challenge that we constantly struggle with. But we also know that, for this area of media, can't afford not to. So we really have to force ourselves to make sure that once in a while, when we're producing, we're also looking around to see what's the newest, latest thing out there. And it's very easy to fall behind if we don't do that. Obviously, with a lot of development right now, for us focusing on the iPhone, the next logical thing is figuring out iPad when it comes out. What would be so the new content offering? Lots of people are saying just take the iPhone apps and port them over to iPad. We'll do some of that, definitely, just so that there are content out there. But one of the biggest R&D effort right now we're doing is on figuring what's going to be unique about the iPad and produce for that. And again, going back to every screen has its unique offering. For TV is a more passive viewing. You want a richer storytelling. That's definitely the standard. For games is about fun. The game has to have that little bit of an addictive feature in it. Doesn't have to be the most beautiful art or animation, but it has to be fun. For iPad, I think the experience is and also for iPhone to just a lesser degree, the experience is going to be literally physically now, instead of just clicking a mouse or whatnot, you're now physically interacting with the device itself. So it's going to be a different experience in that sense that the expectations will be higher, that how deep you can go into the content when you literally touch the screen and how you can move things around. There's going to be a lot more expectations of the biggest screen, greater visual content as well as interactive content. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what comes out. There's a lot of buzz about other companies saying what they're going to do on it, and certainly Apple has made it very attractive for people to develop, and it's a fun device to develop on for sure. And ultimately that's what we're about. It's like we want the experience to be fun and engaging for people. The other area that we're going into is on the casual game side. We're doing we really feel like that's a good skill set translation, and that the people who are in that genre generally have kids. So we really think that that's a great way of bringing mom and kids or dad and kids together. And a lot of the games that right now we're in our pipeline being developed have that in mind, is that it's not a high-end snobby, you have to be hardcore casual gamer to be enjoying them. They are fun, truly living up to the casual game name, that it can go up and down the range and the whole family can enjoy those games. So I think that's the future for us. Certainly, we're still keeping an eye on social gaming and virtual world, very much so. Not sure we're going to build everything ourselves, but we're keeping an eye on it because of just the pure number of minutes that people are now spending online. We can't exactly ignore that area of the business. So we're definitely keeping like one foot into that business as well. So that's our future. It may change, 6 months from now, but that's what we're looking into right now.